Hello, and welcome to A Journey to the King's Cross, a Harry Potter book podcast. We are on the penultimate chapter of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 17, The Heir of Slytherin.
Oh, I didn't realize we were penultimate chapter. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, after this...
There's not a whole lot more that happens in this
considering,
book.
Listening to it, it makes sense. I didn't connect the dots.
That's fair. But I decided to be fancy today and use penultimate. Expand our vocabulary.
You gotta be fancy.
Fair enough.
We've got some interesting cover art on this, which honestly, it kind of gives away what happens in this chapter. But it's the Riddle's diary, which has a lock on it this time. It's the diary that's in the picture is a lot fancier than the diary that is described. Because it's got the metal edges and is locked.
I feel like the artist took a little bit of liberties, I guess.
That's fair.
I feel like it probably would have been better to have a picture of the basilisk or the Chamber of Secrets. The statue of Slytherin.
Just don't want the basilisk face on.
Yeah, because otherwise we'd be dead.
But it's also got, of course, a basilisk fang stabbing into the diary, ink splurting out everywhere. Though to be fair, because it's in black and white, could be blood. We didn't know.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that these had color versions. I'm gonna look that up.
It's probably black in the color version.
It probably is, but I'm gonna look it up.
And there's some feathers. But it's pretty interesting.
The phoenix and everything.
Spoilers.
We're on the chapter, alright, goofball.
I can say spoilers whenever I want, as long as it could be a spoiler. But let's see. Yeah, so we got to the Chamber of Secrets. He's looking for Ginny. This is one of the moments where Harry is surprisingly more cautious than he ever is anywhere else. Where he's literally just being very careful, trying to walk carefully, not looking at the stone snakes. Because he's jittery because he keeps thinking they're moving.
I mean, considering he's dealing with something that could kill you with a look, which, ironically enough, does make this thing the most dangerous creature in the series.
True, but still,
Voldemort at least has to point his wand at you and, say a spell in order to kill you where you stand. This son of a bitch, you look in the wrong fucking direction and he was as good as a dead dog.
That's true. Let's see. We get a semi-description of, what's his face? Salazar Slytherin, there we go. Because giant face above him.
I don't think we ever actually hear any actual physical descriptions for any of the founders.
Rowena, I believe. They describe her statue.
Yeah, she's got that statue. So, 50-50 is not bad, I guess. Though, Ravenclaw and Slytherin being the two that we get a description of.
I bet Gryffindor was short.
What gives you that impression?
A vibe.
Just a vibe.
He had to compensate somehow, so he has a sword and he's...
I would have gone in the opposite direction. He seems like the type of person who's just sort of I've got a sword for muggles and a wand for wizards. I am ready to throw hands with anybody and everybody.
That's exactly... Okay, I'm sorry. Have you met Gimli? Gimli's always ready to throw hands.
I bet you Salazar was short. Finally found the color picture. Yes, it's ink. This one shows the basilisk fang as being gold.
Interesting. Not really the color I would have imagined.
Yeah.
Yellowing, maybe?
Yeah,
what they're looking for.
Maybe.
But it turned out more gold.
I mean, considering I did look up last time after the last chapter we were done talking on the podcast that the average lifespan for basilisks was 1,000 years or something, and this one she was only 900. So yeah, she was old. So it wouldn't surprise me if her fangs were yellowed.
It's pretty small for a 900-year-old snake.
But they did say that they only got to be 50 or 60. Like, she was at the size that the thing said.
Oh, fair enough.
No, I think it said they would get about, like, 40 or 50, and in the book, her skin is described as 20 feet. Then in the movie, they made her 60 feet, because a 20-foot snake is not as terrifying.
I mean, fair.
Yeah. Yeah. They wanted something that was big enough to eat him in one bite.
To be perfectly honest, though, them actually doing the Myrtle line about sharing her toilet makes a lot more ominous when it's at the beginning rather than the end of the actual story.
Yeah. She made the comment again when they get back, and I'm like, again? You again.
Also, at least in the excerpt, we can go over this again when we read Fantastic Beasts. It just says gigantic size and live many hundreds of years. So, like, it doesn't say. And to be fair, if the skin was, like, 20 feet long, then she was longer.
Yeah, because we don't know how old that skin was.
It's true.
We don't really have an indication of how she even fed herself during that period of time, if she only comes when she's called.
So I was actually looking at, I think that's what started my basilisk research last time. She would go into hibernation or, like, suspended animation. The heir Slytherin would put her in suspended animation, and if she wasn't in that, she was eating rats.
Yeah, because they did say that there were a bunch of skulls that they were stepping on. So
she was eating rats.
So would that increase or would that, like, impact her aging process at all if she was in stasis for extended periods of time? Well, she was around for a good 900 years. Could she have theoretically lived longer?
Maybe, or she would have been bigger if she wasn't in stasis as much. And to be fair,
she could still be a baby basilisk.
Snakes don't have to eat that much.
No.
I mean, granted, she ate more than a normal snake, but they still comparatively don't eat a lot.
They eat, like, once a week or so, depending on their size. It'd be like us eating, like, every other day, one meal.
Man.
Or something, I would guess.
So weird to think, like, a snake eats once a week, and humans are like, I literally have to eat every couple hours.
Well, they're cold-blooded, so they don't warm themselves. That's why they're usually in the deserts. That makes sense. They warm themselves on the sun, whereas we are warm-blooded. We keep ourselves warm.
We burn more energy just living, and they're just like...
They chill.
They're solar-powered.
They chill.
I do have to admit, though, when they get to the point where when he finally runs into Riddle and everything, how thick can you get, man? Harry, dude, come on. The fact that it takes so long for him to finally start connecting the dots in the book, I feel like in the movie, Harry picks up on it as soon as Riddle has his wand in his hand.
Yeah.
Because Harry's just sort of glaring at him. He's just sort of like, I need my wand back, Tom. You know what I mean? Whereas in this one, Harry's like, just sort of like, oh, hi, it's an old friend of mine, basically.
Oh, hi, you've got my wand. Yeah, thanks for picking that up.
Doesn't even question how Riddle's there. He's just
he did. He thought about it, but then he's like, Ginny's dying. I have more pressing concerns.
Yeah.
Which, fair. But at the same time...
He does question. He's like, are you a ghost? A memory.
Yeah, and there is one part where I think he sees the diary, and then he's like, how did that... Never mind, I got to worry about Ginny.
Verbatim,
he's not taking the...
For a second, Harry wondered how it had got there. But there were more pressing matters to deal with.
Yep.
I feel like anybody walks in on the scene and everything, they'd probably connect the dots fairly quickly, whereas Harry seems unwilling to do so. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. He hasn't had Hermione for a while now. His critical thinking skills are mostly dependent on her. But,
yeah, I have to admit, Tom Tom talks a big game, though. He's just sort of like, Dumbledore was driven out of here by the mere memory of me. Which, to be honest, that line goes... memory. That line goes pretty hard, all things considered.
That actor delivered it amazingly in the movie.
Yeah.
By the mere memory.
But the problem being is he's still arguing with basically the equivalent of, what, a 12-year-old?
Yeah.
Wow, a 50-year-old fucking memory is a fog those lines.
Of a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Talking pretty big smack for somebody who's only going after a person with 2 years of magical education at best.
Right. And one of those years has been fucked up by basilisk attacks.
Right.
You commented, I think it was you, commented, is like, technically you challenged Harry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, you've challenged me twice.
Where's that line?
Harry didn't go to that, Harry didn't exactly have that first confrontation in mind when he was 1, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously. He's probably just happy that his parents were home all day long to hang out with.
Oh yeah, he says, twice in your past, in my future, we have met, and twice I have failed to kill you. Nope, that's not the line.
I think it was towards the end of the chapter.
Let's see.
He is so full of himself, though. He's just sort of, I'm gonna just sort of sit here and watch Harry die. It'll be fun.
It's like, yeah, you've challenged me. I'm like, no, I wanted nothing to do with you.
I came here to save Ginny.
Brandy made a comment while we were listening to the audio book of this. There was some disconnect in the voice acting.
Which, the guy is an amazing voice actor, narrator for this story. I love it.
It won't come until it's called, said Riddle calmly.
Did you put your name in the goblet of fire, Harry?
Did ya?
Harry
Dumbledore said calmly. It's not nearly as bad, but it's definitely not what I would describe as a calm demeanor.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what do you think it means.
To be fair, like, the way he says Ginny, it sounds more like he's messing with her or teasing her rather than, like, not more like a, Ginny, are you okay? Like, you know what I mean?
But if you listen, that's also how he enunciates Harry. When Ginny woke up, Harry!
Ginny!
I think he only does it for, like, Colin, though. Colin and Ginny are the only ones where he, like, enunciates Harry's name differently, to be honest.
It might be because he's trying to make it sound like...
Younger.
Or
more enthusiastic.
But when Harry's saying Ginny, he's worried, so...
Yeah.
Ginny! Oh God!
I feel
this is the True Blood thing all over again.
Okay, but we're not here to rag on the narrator.
We love the narrator. He's brilliant.
He's doing an excellent job. However, nobody is entirely perfect, so I feel a little bit of ragging is appropriate, all things considered. I mean, it took us almost 2 full frickin' books in order to finally find something we could actually say the narrator didn't do a hot of a job of. You know, I'm just saying.
Fair.
To be honest, though, with Colin, it made a little bit of sense, because Colin is just a giant, excitable box of puppies, basically.
Yes.
He's like... which is wild to me that it's... I'm pretty sure Colin's, like, a Muggle-born, right? Like, he's not pure... He's not half-blood. At least, I don't think so.
No, he's Muggle-born, because he was attacked.
It's wild to me that he, of all people, is the most excited about Harry being around. You would think it would have been a pure-blood student who would have been like... Oh, because that would have made more sense growing up.
But also, Hermione, book 1... You're Harry Potter!
He knows who he is.
I read about you in, magical occurrences in the 21st century.
Or whatever book it was.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, though, it's still, like, one of those things, like, he's a celebrity. I'm going to school with a celebrity? I'm in the same house as a celebrity? Oh my God!
The entire house of Gryffindor, except for Colin, basically treats him like another student. And the rest of the school flip-flop between him being a savior and a frickin' monster.
He lost 50 points in his first year. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, he got him back at the end. It's fine. He felt bad about it, and everybody was giving him crap about it and everything.
I felt bad. You killed people. But I felt bad about it. Well, that's okay, then.
Just don't do it again.
I'm just a baby.
I still feel like McGonagall was a little too harsh on the entire group, basically. I feel like 50 points for all of them would have been more than enough to kind of...
Okay, I feel like we probably said this, but I also feel like maybe she was just going to leave it at 50 for the group until Ron was like, 50? Each! Complain again, I'll make it more, type of thing.
And then throws in Draco for good measure.
Yep.
Yeah, doesn't exactly help. I do... Going
at least she's fair, right? She's at least I'm like, if I want to take it from my house, I might as well get a good chunk out of Slytherin while I can.
What was... I have to admit, though, I do find the overall fight to be kind of lackluster. Like, the conflict. I was hoping, back when I officially went through this, there would have been some sort of duel, some sort of altercation. But the snake does all of the work.
The Phoenix does all the work.
And, and the Phoenix does all of the work.
Harry's just there.
But
they steal the glory at the last minute.
See, I bring up a point of that Voldemort, again, brought about his own downfall by going for the most extravagant solution.
Instead of just being like, oh, Harry, have your wand. Avada Kedavra.
Right. Or, chucking a baby out a window.
Right.
We can't even use the explanation that he's a young wizard because we know that he's capable of using the killing curse while still at Hogwarts.
So, he's already done it at this point.
Yeah.
Because I was curious when he had said, I just was like, how the hell does he know that he's the heir of Slytherin through his mom if he was an orphan? Like, do orphans really have that information and are just ready to give it out to you?
No, they wouldn't have because Merope passed away.
So I actually was looking it up. Merope, however you say her name, his mom went to the orphanage, gave birth to him, and then died shortly after.
Yes.
With
just enough time to actually name him.
So they would have gotten her name too, so he could at least know who his mother was.
Right. Somehow. Or I was scrolling through trying to figure out, like, how the hell did he find out that he was the heir of Slytherin? Well, in his 5th year, or his 4th year, he had gone to the village where his dad lived, was talking to his mom's brother, found out that Riddle was his dad, went and killed Riddle and Riddle's parents, and then blamed his uncle, made his uncle think he did it. So, yeah, he's already used the killing curse at least 3 times at this point, of the memory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shit.
So he definitely could have...
He's a fucked up little kid. Because think about that. Again, we had to remember, he was 16, 15?
He was 16 in the memory.
Okay.
He was like 14 or 15 when he killed his dad and grandparents.
He's just legal to drive all by himself in the United States.
Yeah.
And he's out there killing people. Like, shit, this is a fucked up little boy.
In America, I'm pretty sure that's not even... You skip juvie at that point. Just go straight to...
Yeah, you're getting tried as an adult for this shit. He's already, way past the point of being able to have any sort of plausible deniability. Which, I mean, fair. Most of the time we don't really give a pass to people who kill just the first time, let alone having already ended the lives of 3 people.
Right.
Even if one of them was technically accidental, I'm still not convinced that he intentionally killed Myrtle.
No, she just happened to be there.
Wrong place at the wrong time on her part.
One line I really enjoy is that Harry's like, "You failed. No one's died. Not even the cat. Especially not the cat."
Why could you killed the cat? Please! It would have been a mercy for the rest of the school.
Yeah, Filch probably would have quit.
He would have been depressed, hanging out in his office, drinking butterbeer until he was completely tipsy.
Also, I know that it's the author, but, how pretentious is it that, when Voldemort's renaming himself, he uses every single letter. He couldn't be... He's like, no, I have to use all the letters, no letter left behind, for I am Lord Voldemort out of Tom Marvolo Riddle. He's like, no, I have to use every single letter.
And then to proceed that by saying, you really think I'd keep my filthy muggle father's name?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you did.
But you did.
But you did. You just rearranged the letters.
You made an anagram.
I was trying to find some of the shit he did in the orphanage. But I gotta, I
don't think he killed anybody.
No, but...
He fucked up a lot of
mentally
kids.
scarred a lot of them.
All of them?
I think by the end...
So bad that they had to close down the orphanage? I think.
I'm not sure about that. I haven't gotten really to that point too much in terms of, extra stuff when it came to... I'm still working my way through Half-Blood Prince and everything, and I haven't yet to get to the part where they start really talking about, the Horcrux hunting and all the other, little things.
I feel like I made a really good joke while we were reading, and I totally forgot it. Oh, well, another thing was, Voldemort is so cocky. He's so ready to exploit somebody's weakness and make fun of it when he makes fun of Fawkes for crying that he totally forgets, oh yeah, crying phoenixes is actually important. He's just so ready to see everything as weakness. Crying, weak. What were some of my other jokes that I made? Or comments?
You're barking up the wrong tree. I can barely remember even half my own comments. But I'm sure it'll come back to us. I do like how in the movie, though, they do actually have Harry running around a little bit. There's a lot more pacing to it and stuff. He's actually dodging and interacting with the snake as an actual enemy.
Oh, yeah, throwing a rock. So the snake hears it, and Voldemort, being an idiot, goes, smell him! You can still smell him! Snakes
or he said sniff him.
Snakes can't smell. Not like that.
Well, it also says sniff him. No. The best he can go is and taste the air.
Yeah, it's not really smell. It's more what direction is he in? And snakes are more likely to use, the heat receptors at the front of their mouth.
To be perfectly honest, we never said that he was a smart, when it comes to, snake biology.
Listen.
He barely keeps track of what he's supposed to be knowing about magical animals. He forgot the frickin' bird tears. He forgot how the frickin' snakes actually operate and everything. This dude sucks when it comes to
He forgot that babies are incredibly fragile.
Look, care of magical creatures was clearly not this man's strong subject, okay? Just leave it at that.
He probably ignored that subject.
Waste of time.
Considering how much he, seems so disinterested in terms of other aspects of magic and everything, I would not be too shocked if he skipped over a lot of schools and went to a lot of the spell-heavy shit, crafting your own spell theory class or something along those lines.
Let's see.
She does not want to get up on laps.
Not usually.
You gotta pick her up.
Our cat is pestering us for attention right now.
But won't actually jump into a lap.
No, she makes us bend down to her level.
Yes. How very unfair. Yes.
Speaking of said cat, if you heard a chirp, that was her crying because we picked her up.
Yeah.
Not the bird killed the boy, not the bird killed the boy, not the bird killed the boy!
Very, very... Poor Voldemort is just screwed by having poor help.
Yep.
Between Quirrell, the Basilisk,
you would think
Peter Pettigrew, it's a miracle the man's still capable of getting his body back.
You would think at some point he would have just been throw his hands like a mobster and just be well, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself.
I'm shocked
he doesn't do that either.
he kind of fails miserably at that.
He doesn't do it right. He fucks that up too.
You're right.
People wonder why Voldemort's kind of a laughingstock and why some people consider Grindelwald, in spite of the fact that the movie series is probably never going to be completed, a more intimidating and powerful villain.
Another thing that the movie does well is that Harry doesn't have to put the fucking sorting hat on to get the sword of Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, but swords are heavy.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm
surprised.
And
it just thunks him on the head.
I'm surprised that... Good thing it was the pummel first. Could you imagine if it went the other way?
Oh, God. There, Voldemort, your job's done.
What if Harry never had to put the hat on? He could have just reached into the hat and pulled out.
Harry's not smart.
He wouldn't know, but...
I think that's what Neville did in the book. I know he does it in the movie. He reaches into the hat to grab the sword.
Yeah, in the movie he does. Yep, he's like, whatcha?
Yeah.
Which...
I still find that funny. The most basic Muggle magic trick ever known to mankind. Pulling something out of a hat, and that's how we kill off the last Horcrux.
Yep.
Oh man. I do like the fact that as soon as Ginny's safe, though, Ron's back to picking on his sister like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I think Myrtle's taking a bit of a liking to you there.
Myrtle, Ginny, you got some competition, eh?
And Harry probably
she's
like,
just sitting there just
Ron.
crying.
She's traumatized.
I'm glad they do eventually bring this back up later on in the series, but Ginny kind of stops being a very important character for a little while until I think book 5-ish or something, when the DA becomes more of a relevant thing.
I mean, that makes sense.
I get it and everything. I mean, it's already a balance to actually keep the trio all actively participating, especially when we're actively getting Hermione off the table, because she's... I feel like that's the one problem with Hermione, is that she's too smart for the series, and she'd be able to figure out things way too quick.
So they make her obsessed with knowledge. So that she forgets to... She's like, no, we gotta pay attention to school and not random mysteries.
Fair. I do love how Ron's basically dealing with, like, the whole, like, memory loss thing with freaking Lockhart. Like, he's some sort of irritated parent. He's like, you,
it's
that, no,
like
that you.
magic.
Oh, God. I could almost roll my eyes out of my head and everything.
Like, God damn, he really fucked up his brain.
Just a smidge. Man, seriously, how much was he trying to get them to forget? You'd think maybe, like, only the last couple of hours would have been more than enough.
He's gotta make them gibbering idiots.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it doesn't say... Sorry, I was looking for the description of Gryffindor's sword, because it doesn't say how big the sword, or what kind of sword it is, just a gleaming silver sword, but it's gotta be, like, a two-handed sword or something like that, because it's glittering with rubies the size of eggs. Multiple. Plural.
Quail eggs?
That's still a lot.
I think I saw, like, a drawing of the actual sword at some point and everything. I can't remember where, but I remember...
Definitely not the drawing on the front of the book.
I mean,
that's
it is a sword that's small enough for Harry to lift.
To be honest, though, I always felt the sword in the movie was too small.
There. There's it's on the next chapter, which it looks more like a scimitar there.
And to be fair,
if you look at the handle, this is where all the rubies are. Could you imagine if the handle was where all the freaking rubies were? That would be so uncomfortable and
that would be,
yeah.
That's why I remember not liking the artwork renditions of it. The actual sword kind of makes a little bit of sense. The idea that it's going to be, if you're a wizard, your primary weapon's your wand. So you're going to have like a parrying sword in your left hand.
It's really weird that the sword in the book, it looks more like a scimitar. Like...
Scimitar.
Whatever.
Tomato, tomato.
Penguin. Penguin. Penguin.
Penguin. If you're wondering what we're referencing, please look up Benedict Cumberbatch trying to say penguin.
It's hilarious.
Was it South Pacific documentary on BBC?
I think so.
They did that on purpose. They hired him specifically because they knew he couldn't say the word.
That's when he couldn't say it was in that documentary.
I know.
And then I think when he was voicing a character in Madagascar... Penguins of Madagascar? Maybe. I could be wrong. He tries to not say the word penguin because he's traumatized by the word penguin.
Oh, no.
I might be making that last part up, but, like, the documentary of him is just devolves.
Oh, my gosh.
To me,
penguin. Penguin. He just forgets what penguins are. But anyway, the sword. Because if anything, if you think about, like, I always pictured the sword, you know, stereotypical Western sword and the rubies would have been, obviously on the pommel on the bottom, like a rounded bit, and then
on the hilt.
The crossguard.
Yeah.
Oh,
on the ends of the crossguard. I'm trying to look at one of your swords. They have multiple swords hanging up, but they don't have one that quite would be the way that it would. I'm thinking of.
Not that we have hanging up.
I don't
She's
exactly
thinking similar to like our King Arthur sword that we have.
Probably
that's back there. It's not hanging up.
Yeah, that one was a nice looking sword, but it kind of started falling apart almost as soon as I got it.
And I just realized there's probably two things that help the sword be a little lighter. It's goblin made.
Oh, that definitely would help.
And it's possible that if it is, because it says a silver sword, very possible if it was made out of silver, it would also be incredibly light compared to...
You, Mitchell, have said multiple times that wizards are made of stronger stuff than muggles.
Oh yeah,
so
that's true.
So they could literally be stronger, like, have more strength to pick up things than we do.
I mean,
and to be fair, with all the chores that Harry's done in his life, he is, and over that summer specifically, he did a way more chores than usual.
Yeah.
He's probably pretty strong. He's probably stronger than the average wizard.
Counterpoint, he doesn't get fed very well. So a lot of his body's not necessarily getting the nutrients that he would technically should
but he gets fed really well at Hogwarts, so
he's
recovered.
But he would be to a degree, but he'd still be he'd be underfed for at least those 3 months while he's doing most of his primary exercises, which also would negatively impact any physical gains that you're doing.
You'd think that Dumbledore would have threatened them, like the minute he's a bit underfed, when he.
I feel like something should have been.
He should have been like, Petunia, feed the boy, or else.
I will. I honestly, the way the Dursleys treat Harry over the course of the series, CPS should have been called a few times over.
So many times.
The wizards got involved. Harry couldn't be taken away from the Dursleys.
Oy.
It's one of those things, though, I do wonder how much of what Dumbledore knew needed to be occurring, like Harry being there, was common knowledge for the wizarding government. Because I do know that they do end up keeping him there after they reveal the truth of knowing that that Voldemort's alive.
God. What if Dumbledore fucking obliviated anybody who tried to talk to him about Harry and his well-being, and just modified their memory so they thought Harry was fine?
I wouldn't put it past him.
I doubt that, because by the end of book 5 and everything, almost the entire Order of the Phoenix basically is giving the Dursleys shit. And I think by book 4, the Weasleys had caught on enough to know that he's not being well taken care of there, because they were like, no, you're going. We're asking the Muggles to try and make it a little bit smoother, but we're coming to get you one way or the other.
That's true. And in book 3, Harry mentions that all of his friends send him food.
Yeah, he had multiple cakes that he was keeping hidden.
Yeah.
Right.
He said it was getting stale.
Some pies, I think.
Yeah, he said it was getting close. It was starting to get a little stale and everything, but it was just it was something to help deal with the fact that everybody was on a frickin' diet. I think
that's right. That was the year, because Dudley, they put everyone on a diet because Dudley.
We'll say it again when we read the book, but she describes him as the size of a small whale, which, looking up the sizes of small whales, could be 300 plus pounds.
Which is
a lot for a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Considering at my heaviest, I was nowhere close to 300 pounds.
I'm close, but
you're also a grown-ass adult.
Yeah. At my heaviest as a child, I was nowhere near that.
Brandy never even been close to 200 pounds soaking wet, let alone 300.
Brandy is happy to be over 100.
My dog usually weighs more than me, and he's a Nikita.
And he's got a lot of foof. But
we are running out of time.
I do feel kind of bad. I really do want to finish the story off and everything. We are one chapter away, and we get the nice little explanation with everything going on.
But we will save it for the next podcast. We'll do it chapter at a time.
I do want to say one...
We still need to figure out a time to do the movie.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be...
That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
We might have to postpone those depending on when we actually get a moment. To be honest, today would have been a perfect day for it,
if we had thought about it.
But we still hadn't necessarily finished this and everything, so I'd rather... The book is the priority. It's a Harry Potter book podcast. We do the movies and stuff to add to the content. And since we grew up watching the movies and everything, and I watched I watched the movies before I even started reading the book, so it's colored my perspective. Even right now, we're already talking about the actual movie content and stuff, even though we should technically try to save that, but, whatever.
When have we've also talked about book 7 for a good 20 minutes in one of our other chapter explanations, so I think we're okay.
We've gone on major tangents.
These books are almost a decade old at this point, and some of them getting close to 2 decades old. If you don't know at this point, you got no one to blame but yourself.
The first book is almost 30 years old.
No, we're not going there. We're not that old.
We're pretty fucking old, man.
Ironically enough, nobody here actually has any gray hair, even though we've got friends with it.
Yeah.
Or no hair at all.
I've got really good genes.
Good, because that's the only thing I wear most of the time.
But I'm wearing sweatpants right now.
I'm actually wearing jeans instead of scrub pants or pajama pants, so...
It's a miracle.
Out of any of us, Brandy will be the hardest one to tell if she's going blonde.
Going gray?
Because she is blonde.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start noticing if your hair starts lightening up even more.
I will be the easiest to notice gray hairs. Unfortunately, for the rest of my friends, I don't think I will go gray for a while. If my dad's hair, which I inherited, is anything to go by, I'll skip gray, go straight to white, but it won't happen until I'm over 50, so...
Hey, listen.
And at that point, you're going to stop caring.
Snow White is good. My grandfather went from redhead to Snow White at like 20.
That's bad.
That sounds cool, because
legit
could you imagine...
Snow White, not gray, not salt and pepper gray.
No.
White.
The Snow White is fine, but at 20, that sucks.
Yeah, we don't know what happened.
Okay,
I think it was like 18 or 20.
Here's the thing, though. You have dyed her hair. Could you imagine how much easier it would be to get the perfect color if your hair was perfectly white?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Look,
that would be a blast.
For all of you out
there. At that point in time, if I went white, man, I'd just start rocking the rainbow at that point. I'm not even gay, but hell yeah.
My hair currently is as dark of a brown as it can be, pretty much, before you start wanting to call it black. Some days, in some lights, you do say it's black.
It looks black right now.
It is not black. It is brown. Which does make a difference when bleaching your hair, but still a pain in the ass. Most of the time I spend at a hair salon when they dye my hair is bleaching my hair.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. It's a real struggle.
One I do not have to experience.
Because I wanted to do the whole silver hair thing, but I can't without damaging my hair.
Yeah.
Because it won't go white.
I don't think even my blonde, because I'm like a dirty blonde, I don't think I could go light enough for silver to look decent.
I think you could.
To be fair,
it wouldn't be nearly as damaging.
It could be worse than when you went dark. Dyed it dark.
Black?
Yeah.
When I dyed it black?
You looked like...
When did you dye your hair black?
Way before she met you.
High school.
Okay, high school.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Because I'm an emo kid, non-conforming as can be.
No, it was just because I thought it would look good.
She ended up looking like Sanako from the Ring series and stuff. She looked brown.
And I was stupider. I didn't go with like the brown black. I went blue black.
Oh, that wouldn't work with your hair.
No, it did
or
not.
Or your coloration.
I was a good boyfriend at the time. I told her it was wonderful. One of the few occasions I got away with lying to my girlfriend, my future wife.
And now we make fun of me for my stupid decisions.
I mean...
I've made dumb hair decisions.
You're friends with me still. You can't get dumber than that.
She's married to you, though, so obviously you can. Just kidding. I love you guys.
When you marry, when you're friends with somebody, it's all about personality and compassion and stuff along those lines. When it comes to marriage, there's alternative reasons. She wanted me because we made beautiful kids, and that's the only reason. I'm still trying to figure out why she's kept me around this long.
Because I need a break from the kids, and I need to shove them to you sometimes.
Fair point. She doesn't want to pawn the gremlins off anybody else.
I feel guilty.
She does. I constantly am like, hey, I'm available. Let me have the kids for a bit. And you're like, are you sure? Are you really sure? I don't know. I feel bad. I'm like, Brandy, get some shit done. I can take the kids for a couple hours. It's fine.
I don't
and
want
then even then, I'm like, I'll take them for like 4 or 5 hours. 2 hours is fine.
Were you talking about this last time? That's because Luke had a nap. Quiet time, or whatever.
And I didn't have the space this time for him to have a nap. But still.
We're talking about my 3-year-old. Almost 4-year-old.
But, unfortunately, this is a kind of short episode because...
We are on time constraints.
Because we did this we're recording this at an earlier time than usual. And unfortunately, I have to go take my brother to work.
Which is kind of unfortunate.
It is.
But to be perfectly honest, like, this isn't exactly a super intense chapter. I mean, it's the climax of the story. But I do find it kind of funny is that when it comes to action-heavy chapters and stuff, we have a lot less to actually say as a general rule. Whereas some of the more...
Because most of the time most of the time of the book is talking about the action, which we can condense to the fight.
Yeah.
As opposed to all the separate things that happen during a chapter.
Versus, like, the chapters where nothing really happens, it's a lot of, like, backstory and stuff that we end up talking about.
But, if you want more content from me, I do a lot of crochet videos on... Well, it looks like it's mostly going to be YouTube now, because it looks like by the time you guys watch this, TikTok will be dead. So find me at Luna's Creation Corner.
I'm sorry. Nimbus is playing with the yarn that my wife is currently using.
She wasn't playing with it. She was patting my leg for attention. My yarn just happened to be there.
I still find the idea. It still looks like.
She's trying to knit with it, and it's getting stuck on the cat.
Yeah, a little bit. It's staticky yarn.
I'm gonna let you guys finish the goodbyes. Bye, everyone.
Oh, all right. You can find me at Cole Sanders, COAL Sanders, on Twitch and everything. I do streams on Monday and Wednesday for, like, basically about an hour. Still getting around to finishing Persona Golden and everything. It's taking a little bit longer to get through that back half.
You can find me on FlossTube or YouTube for all of my cross-stitch and other projects at Brandywine Stitches. And all of my other socials, you can find me at Hockeytown Candle Co., where I'm going to hopefully be better at posting about all my candles. So until next time, keep your wands at the ready.